Good evening. It's Thursday. It's 11 p.m. and that can only mean it's Thursday Night Live with me, Boaty, and I can't tell you how much of a sheer joy it is to be, he said, turning down his doings. It is nothing less than an absolute joy to be here at Windy Bottom, coming live in your eyes and ears. So, good evening, my lovelies. Thank you for joining me, assuming there's somebody here. I haven't actually had a look yet. It's all been a little bit rushed. It has been a very, very busy night. The restaurant was fully booked. We had Christmas parties and there was fun and jollity and frivolity, and I lost £1 by failing to throw some of the table orders into a plastic bag from a considerable distance by the side of the stove. I thought I could do it. Turns out I couldn't, and I had to pay my head chef £1. But there we are. Now then, what can we expect from this live stream tonight? Well, we can pick up on all of the usual features that we know and hate. So let's see now. We'll have celebrity out of context bingo. Have you, since in the few days since the last live stream, or at any point, hey, don't limit yourself. Have you come across, not literally, have you encountered a celebrity who was in some way out of context? And celebrity disappointments. Have you met a celebrity who in some way disappointed you? Obviously, I want to hear about things that have nearly but not quite fallen on your head. Of course, I and everybody watching needs to know just what the heckety heck you had for dinner tonight, or are you planning a late supper? Either way, we need to know what's gone down the little red lane or is about to go down the little red lane. Is anybody joining me in a cheeky little drinky? Tell us all about that. And of course, I doubt that we're going to manage to get through an entire live stream without a mention of OPWAP. And I've got some other things to talk about as well. So I will have a little slurp of wine, which will be my first slurp of wine of the evening, and is bloody well deserved, I can tell you that. Oh, and after the sound issues last week, let's just have a little check. Can you all tell me if you are seeing and hearing me loudly and clearly? And while you're doing that, I will have a little slurp of this rather splendid wine, and I will check to see who is here with us tonight. Cheers, my loves. Oh, that is particularly splendid and extremely welcome. Now, let's see who we have got in the house and let's say some hellos. So, from the top, Bad Books is with us and says good evening, Bonnie lad, and a very good evening to you. Thank you for joining us. Steve Colg is with us and he is very tired, and according to the emojis, he's about to go to bed. He is feeling okay, and he is drunk. Jimmy Quinn is with us. Good evening, Jimmy. Lovely to have you here. And he says good evening, and he had 3 glasses of wine, so I think we can safely assume that he's 3 sheets to the wind as well. Is this one of those live streams where we're all just semi-pissed? I like to think it possibly is. And just in case, I'll catch you up. Cheers. Matthew Harrison is with us. How lovely. And says good evening to you all and asks how the devil are we? And directs that specifically at me. And thank you for asking, Matthew. I am feeling particularly splendid today. Everything, it's just been one of those days where everything seems to have gone really rather well. And life is good and I'm feeling great and I'm warm and I've got a lovely curry for supper. I've got some excellent wine and I've got you guys. What more could anybody want? Project MGTF, the lovely Simon. Are we prepared for Boaty on a Thursday? He'll be hyper as it's a midweek day-ish. Well, good question. Am I hyper? And am I more hyper midweek than at weekends? Maybe maybe I am. Maybe I'm less hyper at weekends because I've had a longer and busier night at work. I don't know. But Simon is with us, and it's always an absolute joy to see him. Project Nigel, the hairy Paddington himself, is in the house. Good evening, HP. And how are you, sir? The fittest hairy Paddington in the world, as he seems to be setting all sorts of world records for walking places. Walking for this, walking for that, walking back to the unit because he's forgotten his phone charger or his tripod or his beard or his underpants. My God, there'll be nothing of him. I mean, have you seen him go? He goes like greased weasel droppings. And if he hasn't already, especially given his diet where he cuts out carbohydrate and only eats eggs and prostitutes, he will have a body like a racing snake. My goodness me. Good evening to you, Mustard. Oh, Carl Davis is with us. Says good evening, sir, and good evening to you, Carl. Lovely to have you. Now then, we should have some sort of fanfare for this, because guess who's here? My favourite combination of a children's television programme and a jet airliner. It is none other than Mr. Ben 747. Very good evening to you, sir. KKC is with us. How lovely. Good evening. A whole pound, the money's gone to your head. Yeah, I did. Well, I didn't suggest the money bet. I just thought I could do it. I live quite near to John Lowe, aka Old Stoneface, who was world darts champion several times over, and of course did the first televised 9 darter, which earned him £100,000, which was more money then than it is now, and with which he bought a rather lovely house that he no longer owns. But I thought that as I lived so close to him, some of the magic might have rubbed off, and I would be able to have lobbed these. I mean, it wasn't an easy shot, right? Picture this. I'm here by the multi-16 burner stove. Then you've got the pass, which is where I normally spend my time. I like to run a pass in a restaurant. I flatter myself I'm rather good at dressing the dishes, and I'm rather good at calling the orders. And you know, if you ever watched what was it called, Hell's Kitchen, then I like to be the shouty guy who shouts at all of the different stations, getting everything together, making sure that the all of the dishes are perfect and perfectly hot and perfectly dressed before the wait staff take them away. So I'm here by the stove. You've got the pass there. Then you've got a heated cabinet where all of the crockery is, and then behind the cabinet, and to the right here, you've got a station with secondary ovens for doing starters and stuff that the main chefs don't want to be doing with. And then in the corner, you've got a space. And I screwed a screw into the wall there because I am that useful at DIY. And I suspended a carrier bag, you know, one of the ones with good handles. The sort of, you know, with separate handles on top, not just holes in the bag. And a really good quality bag, the sort of bag that you put your lesser quality bags in. And I've got it suspended there. And that's where I shove all of the table orders when they're done. And a load of orders came from the Tandoor station with the lovely Gopi. And Ram screwed them up like that and went to go to throw them, and he said, into the bag, and he said, do you think I can do it? And I said, yeah, of course, it's easy. He said, you come do it then. I said, no problem. He said, you do it, I give you £1. I said, great, thank you. He said, you don't do it, you give me £1. So there you go. I took it on. I failed miserably. I caught it on the end of the heated cabinet thing and it kind of went plop onto the floor with the disappointed air of a kebab being dropped by a drunk as he tries to make his way home after 14 pints of Welsh Old Phlegm lovely beer. So there you are. But I didn't feel too bad about it because I won £2 off Ram on whenever it was by betting on France to beat Morocco. So I'm still up, I'm £1 up, and we've got a fiver on the finals on Sunday. He's got France, I've got Argentina. So it's all good fun. Where did we get to? Diddly-do. So we've said hello to Mr. Ben, who said good evening to me, and it's very kind of him to do so. And I wish you a good evening to Mr. Ben 747, and indeed all of you, and the people that you care about. And season of goodwill, even the people that you don't care about. Marvellous. Captain Mustard has given us the welcome information, a little insight into his hairy life. I do like little insights into people's lives, and Captain Mustard has kindly let us know that he's just about to open a bottle of Emily, and I have no idea what Emily... Oh, do I have an idea what Emily is? Is that the thing that he was rattling on about in his own live stream, which many of you may have witnessed in person on Tuesday night? It was absolutely splendid. A work of true talent, style, and absolute directorial professionalism. And he was banging on about some god-awful bloody beer that I think was called Emily, and I think he called it Emily Bishop, after the character in Coronation Street, of course. Emily Bishop, who was memorably married to Albert Tanner, and who was the street's resident semi-professional prostitute. Now, let's see. Oh, Monsieur Gilbert T. Codwacker is here, and he says, I don't know if I want to read that out. I was disappointed at Mustard half-boobed attempting a live. I thought his live was absolutely splendid. Bear in mind that it was his first attempt, and possibly there is a little room for improvement, but that's always the way on a first attempt at things. Now, Gilbert and anybody else, think back to the time where you first administered or received a pottering. Were you as good at it as you are now? I bet you weren't. And it's familiarity breeding contempt. It's practice. And I thought Mustard's effort was a jolly spirited effort. And he didn't give up in the teeth of virtually everything going wrong. And his next one will be, no doubt, better. And what you can't argue with is that his is more successful than mine, which makes it better than mine by definition. Why is it more successful than mine? He had more people watching, he had more comments, he had more views, and people gave him money through the super chat system. And that has never happened to me. And I have fewer views than he does, so I must bow at the knee of the master. Carl Davis is going to chime in on a feature, and that's always exciting. And it's celebrity disappointment. It's a celebrity disappointment feature. And he says that he shook hands with John Bon Jovi, who of course is very well known as the frontman of Def Leppard. And apparently he looked like a photoshopped Rod Stewart. Very smiley though. Now, I wasn't familiar with him until in the days when I used to watch television. He played a plumber. I think his name was Victor. That might be wrong. But anyway, he was in Ally McBeal. And I enjoyed watching Ally McBeal because of the Chinese girl, the Chinese lady who, what was her name? No, I can't remember what her name was, but she is well up there on my list of people I would have liked to have podgered. Absolutely splendid looking creature. I have got a thing for Chinese ladies, which is probably why I've lived with and been engaged to no fewer than 3 of them. But, oh, bollocks, hang on. KKCK says, can't hear you at all. Oh, God, please, God, tell me you're joking. Okay, right, the sound issues last time. I was filming using my new recording device, my iPhone X, because I've just gone there and made that happen. And there was, as many of you pointed out, a background noise. And I've done my best to get to the bottom of this, and I've done a considerable amount of research. And what I've found is this. Basically, all iPhones from kind of iPhone X onwards have got some form of an inherent fault where in camera video recording mode, they have a background noise. And if you do your online research, there are various fixes or workarounds that are suggested, but it appears to be an endemic problem. And to test this, I did a test recording on my brand new phone. It's an iPhone 11, it's not the latest model, but it was brand new when I got it 6 or 8 weeks ago. And I did a video recording on that, and sure enough, that's got the same background noise. So it seems to be a problem. And as I say, there are various workarounds and possible fixes suggested, many of which I tried, none of which worked. So what have I done? I've gone back to using my trusty old iPhone 6. I think that the problem really rears its head when you're in a situation with no other background noise. I think it's connected to some miracle piece of technology that is supposed to suppress background noise when you're recording a video. But in some weirdly ironic turn of doings, if there is no background noise, it seems to create some. So, bugger it. Hopefully you are hearing me. Oh, I sound spot on. That's good. So I'm back to using the old iPhone 6. And that's wonderful. It gives a sense of continuity and loyalty. And, oh, this is exciting. Something has flashed up. Oh, how wonderful. A super chat. I've received a super chat from my favourite combination of a children's television programme and a commercial jetliner. Mr. Ben747 has sent me a super chat. Thank you so much. I am, that's my first one ever. And I will now, without you seeing, of course, because that would be entirely wrong, but I will clutch my little tinkle with excitement. There, I'm clutching it. That's how excited I am. How wonderful. Thank you so much. I will come on to these super chat things and channel memberships and so forth, all of which are now enabled, but I do want to talk about them a little bit now that I have put them into place. But that is so kind of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. My first one ever. 8 months of hard work is finally bloody well paying off. My goodness me. I will do something with that when I work out what to do with it. Now, where did I get to? Diddly-do. Mr. Stephen S. Paul from across the Heading Pond is with us. Good evening to you, sir, the man with about 176 cars, many of which are sensationally exotic and exciting. And as far as I'm aware, all of which have got the steering wheel on the wrong side. But it's a great pleasure to have him with us, and we thank him for coming, don't we? Of course we do. Diddly do, where did I get to? I've done that one. I've done that one. And I've done that one. Jimmy Quinn says I'm sounding okay. Stephen S. Paul says you can see me. This is all wonderful. Gilbert says I sound spot on. The joy of the old iPhone 6. You see, there's many a good tune played on an old fiddle. And if any 30-year-old ladies are watching this, I would like you to remember that. I live in Derbyshire, by the way. Maybe it's close to you. Maybe you could. Anyway, we don't need to go down that route, do we? My God Almighty! I run a singles network. I don't need to be casting about for potential pottering partners on my nice live stream with my lovely YouTube community, who I have to say are amongst my most favourite people in the world. You really are just such an absolutely top drawer, top of the range group of subscribers, viewers, friends, and downright chums. And I love you all very dearly. Not in a biblical sense, obviously. But Project MGTF, the artist formerly and indeed currently known as Simon, met Maria Costello, who apparently is a motorbike racer, at Newark Auto Jumper the other year. It's a celebrity out of context bingo. Excellent. Not really out of context, but she wasn't wearing her leathers. And then, he adds in brackets, sadly, because he is a pervert. Now, is that a celebrity out of context? Well, if she's a motorbike racer and she wasn't racing, she wasn't on a motorbike, and she wasn't dressed in motorbiking gear, then yeah, I'm going to give you that one. That is a celebrity out of context bingo, or a celebrity, or a kookba, a kookba. So congratulations, Simon. You have an officially recognised celebrity out of context bingo. And I would love to hear any more that you fine people have got. KKC has imparted the glad tidings that he is drinking cheap lager. It may be cheap lager, but it will get you there. Oh, that's something I want to talk to you about. Now, I was surfing about on YouTube last night, as is my wont at a certain time of night, normally about 1:30 or possibly a little bit north of that, for something to watch while I'm eating my summer? That's a Freudian slip. While I'm eating my supper, and then to fall asleep to while I'm lying in my warm, feathery bed. And I'm kind of into this car camping thing in a vicarious sort of way, because part of me thinks it would be amazing to do, and another part of me thinks, well, fuck that. I mean, you're going to be whittling in a bucket. Your wine's not going to be chilled, and you might not have internet signal, and the bed would probably be too small, and you might get sexually molested by a passing deer or tramp. But anyway, that's by the by. I found this episode, and I can't remember what the channel was called, but I am going to watch another one. And I was a little bit troubled with it, to be honest. Now, I don't know if any of you have seen this, and I don't know what any of you think of this, but it's a guy who has self-confessed depression and anxiety issues. And he does kind of stealth camps right now. So in minus whatever conditions, in like very public places. The one I watched, he was behind a bush in one of those retail car parks. And that's okay, whatever you call it, stealth camping, urban camping, that's okay. But a big part of his thing is what he eats, but above all, what he drinks. And he seems to drink a lot. And he was saying he hadn't taken much to drink for that night. But the not much he'd taken to drink was 4 cans of strong cider and just over half a bottle of whiskey. And that's part of his videos is, he sits in freezing cold freezing his tits off in a tent, and he's not skint. He's not doing this because he's homeless or anything. He's got money. The food he's got is proper expensive food. And the equipment he's got seems to be quite expensive as well. But he sits there and gets pissed. Said, hey, drinking a glass of wine. But I mean, there's getting pissed and getting pissed, isn't there? I don't know. I just thought making a video about escaping your anxieties by firing down 4 cans of cider and half a bottle of whiskey. I don't know. I felt a little bit troubled by it. But he's got millions of subscribers and probably, well, almost undoubtedly earns a fortune, and he's doing way better than me. So who am I to say anything? But I don't know. I don't know. Is there a feature in that? Let's have a think. Do you ever watch something or somebody on YouTube and for some reason just feel a little bit troubled about it? And thinking about it, the answer is probably yes. You all probably watch me and feel very troubled about me and think that I should get some sort of bloody professional help or intervention. But do feel free to give your own answers. You don't need me to give you an answer. Of course you don't. You're all grown up, high functioning, fine, clever, well thinking people. And so say all of us. So how did we get to that? I don't know. Alf Roberts' wife in Coronation Street, this is Steve Cole telling us this, nearly ran me over in Manchester. She ran a red light. She was in a white Golf convertible. And I think Alf Roberts' wife, now, didn't he punch above his weight? Alf Roberts was the big fat grocer fellow, wasn't he? And I'm pretty sure that when it came to his wife, he was punching above his not inconsiderable weight, because his wife was, what was her name? I think her name was Audrey. And I think the actress who played her was it Sue Nichols? I want to say Sue Nichols. And I also want to say that she was like the sexy one in Rent-A-Ghost. Am I right or am I wrong? You tell me. Anyway, she nearly ran poor old Steve Cole over after she ran a red light in a white Golf convertible. And so I think we all say a big boo sucks to that. But jolly well done to Alf Roberts for being a big fat man who got a really sexy wife. There's a feature. Do you know anybody who has, when it comes to getting a spouse, well and truly punched above their weight? And again, you can include me in that, because if you've seen the video with Chinese Madam in it, there's absolutely no question that I was well and truly punching above mine. Now let's do it. I'm going to top my wine up. I'm going to go back and top my wine up because it's a celebratory kind of day. Oh, where's that? Well, I would top my wine up if I knew where it was. That's not it. Well, what have I done with that? Okay, well, this is bizarre. This is bizarre, my loves. My wine has disappeared. What's going on with that? Well, I'm going to have to open a new one, but that wasn't planned. Did I put it in this fridge? Well, it would seem I finished a bottle. That would explain it. The mystery of the disappearing wine has been solved. So, isn't that wonderful? Isn't this a joy? It might be cold outside, but isn't it lovely to be able to sit with friends, drink wine, and discuss how a fat grocer has got a really attractive wife? Now then, do you think that she would go on top more often than not? I'm not a woman, and I never have been to the best of my knowledge. But if you were a woman of, normal proportions, and you had an Alf Roberts sized partner, I think you'd probably be tempted to go on top, wouldn't you? A lot of women prefer it on top anyway, because they can control the goings on, can't they? But I can't imagine it would be a pleasant experience to be mounted by an exceptionally large man. But that's just my thought. I don't know. Perhaps it's a pleasant, warm, encompassing experience. I don't know. I should ask one of my exes because I am a fairly large man. And I would imagine they may have some insight. But let's move on from that. This is not somewhere where we should be discussing that sort of thing. This is a family channel, except that it kind of isn't. But nonetheless, there's no need for that on a Thursday night. Absolutely disgraceful, and I can only apologise. And is that my wine that I've left out? And I should have put that back in the fridge. That is very remiss of me. My mind is all over the place tonight. I've got so many exciting thoughts and plans and hopes. My mind, at the best of times, my mind is like a dropped hose. And I thought I was quite exceptional in that regard, but then I met Captain Mustard. And I realised actually my mind is like a well-controlled, firmly held hose that isn't dropped at all, but is neatly wound around a real thingy and put away. Whereas Captain Mustard's mind is genuinely like a dropped hose, a very powerful hose that's writhing around all over the place and would get your feet wet because you can't grab hold of it, and it might even spray up and wet your trousers. That's the sort of man Captain Mustard is. He's the sort of man who would writhe around and make your trousers wet. Excuse me, please. Matthew Harrison asks, head gasket sealant, yes or no? Now, I don't know if that's directed at me or all of us, but I haven't got a bastard clue, but I would imagine probably no. From what little I know about head gaskets, all of which has been gleaned from, well, I know how not to have one blow, or how to help not to have one blow. Keep the res below 3000 until the oil, not the water, until the oil is at full operating temperature. But from what little I know about head gaskets, gleaned from my time with Captain Mustard, he has complained about yucky, gucky head gasket sealing stuff. I would imagine the answer is no, get it done properly. But I don't know. So let's put that out to you. Head gasket sealant, yes or no? It's probably a more pertinent question to many of you than the feature question in the last live stream, which was Mary Berry, hot or not? And I looked at a picture of her on the internet, and frankly, whoever said she was hot, you should be locked up. Dear me. Oh, hang on. Gilbert, Monsieur Codwacker, has been to Allegro Man's World to put Barney away for the winter and had dinner at Hurd's Family Fisheries. And it was very nice indeed, apparently. Well, what did you have? Don't give us half a story. Don't keep us in suspenders. What did you have? And who paid? Get back to me with that one. Cheap lager is safer than cheap women, says Matthew Harrison. I think they probably have several things in common if I were to think about it. Audrey, I wouldn't expect anything less. Tripemonger is here. Tripemonger is amongst us and says, good evening all. Mustard is quietly laughing to himself, but I've got no idea about what. Project Nigel will be doing the Star Walk next, I bet you. Don't know what the Star Walk is, but I wouldn't put anything past him. Oh God, we've got an OPWAP. I knew we wouldn't get through without it. OPWAP, Sarah Kennedy. Who the hell is Sarah Kennedy? Is she the one off Give Us a Game for a Laugh? Yeah, she must be knocking on a bit. So she's certainly an OP. The question is she a WAP? Is Mr. Ben 747 better than Jimbo? Well, I don't get that, but Mr. Ben 747 sent me a super chat. So as far as I'm concerned, for this evening, he is the finest person in this world. Arthuritis is with us. Oh, splendid. Good evening, you big fud. The sound is crystal... Is the sound clear tonight? Well, crystal is opaque by comparison. Oh, splendid. You see, iPhone 6, it is the answer to all things. Mr. F is with us and says good evening, and he hopes that I'm well, and I hope that he's well. And thank you for joining us, and it's lovely to have you. Tritemonger has just watched the Hubnuts vids on Hubnotes, and he sends congratulations to them on their engagement. Right, okay. Now, I haven't really had a chance to look at anything, but something did flash up, and I did wonder if that had happened. So there we are. The lovely Ian and Carly are apparently engaged. So many congratulations to them both. I've never met either of them, but they both seem like lovely people. And she, of course, is Welsh, which makes her one of the best people in the world. He lives in Wales, which is kind of second best. And he can almost pronounce some of the Welsh place names. But no, I mean, congratulations to them. Cheers. And on a serious note, I really hope that they make each other very happy indeed. On the face of things, they seem jolly well suited. And you know, from what little I know, you can never really tell being outside, but they seem like people who both deserve happiness. Kylie's ex sounds like, well, no, you must be careful what you say about these things, but from a couple of things she said on Twitter, one of which I got involved with. Anyway, jolly good luck to them both. Matthew Harrison says, I once hit the bullseye in the dark. The guy I was playing against turned the light off as I was aiming, so I just threw it, heard the sound and said, call me, lights out. Stephen S. Paul says, Boaty's kitchen. Not sure what that's about, but yeah, there it is. Oh, Bad Books met Jeff Capes at a customer's garden centre. Oh, he's crippled with a bad back, so walks with a stick. That's sad. My overriding memory of Jeff Capes is when he was in Superstars. Do you remember Superstars? It was, for those of you who don't know, it was a program where sportsmen from different sports all got together and did like a decathlon, a load of different, can't think of the word for it, but a load of different sporty bits. One of which was cycling, and the sight of Jeff Capes on a bicycle was a sight to behold. But sad to hear that he's crippled with a bad back. Arthritis has kicked in with an OPWAP, and it's Ruth Langsford. I'm none the wiser. Not a clue on that one. Matthew Harrison says, have you ever visited Stardisk, Boaty? I've no idea what Stardisk is, so probably not. Unless I was drunk at the time, which is possible. Boaty, says Gilbert, would you like to blind date a lady in her 70s, owns her own home and goes to the pub? Thank you, but no. Matthew Harrison says, OPWAP, wrinkled for your pleasure, which is actually very clever and very funny. Nice one. France for the win, says Simon. Well, hopefully not. I've bet on Argentina. I've bet on France all the way through. But I've swapped sides for the final because I was listening on the radio. I didn't watch it, but it sounded like they didn't play too well against Morocco. And were bloody lucky to get through, possibly with quite a lot of help from the referee. But there we are. Mr. Boaty is from the 70s, so they have something in common. I am from the 70s. I'm the same age as decimal currency to within a couple of weeks. KKC says that the worst celeb he met was George Best at a sportsman dinner at Chateau Impney. Now, Chateau Impney. My mother, before she got together with my father, was engaged to the guy who owned Chateau Impney. If you don't know Chateau Impney, it's a posh kind of, I don't know what it is now or what it started out as, but it's a posh chateau type place near Droitwich. Anyway, KKC met George Best there. He was a complete tool. He kept us waiting for autographs while he ate his pudding and ordered triple brandies. So that's obviously a contribution to the celebrity disappointments feature. The Kenjoji, oh, I don't know. Anyway, he's with us, and he says, woo-hoo. Good evening to you. KKC says that Emily was married to Ernest, who was shot. Oh, that's Emily Bishop. Right, she wasn't married to Alf Tanner then, or whoever it was. Emily Bishop was a lady of God. Well, that's splendid. The Ken Joji says, George Best is Irish and alcoholic. What could you expect? Gilbert T. Codwacker claims to be brilliant at everything for the first time. That sounds like a lie. Project Nigel has had a comment hidden, so let's unhide it. Stop taking the piss, you lanky JC lookalike. And by JC, he does of course mean Jesus Christ. And I would argue that he looks more like Jesus Christ than I do. If you believe the white Western version of Jesus Christ, which was of course a white man from Oxford, whereas in reality, the actual figure of Jesus Christ, who I do believe existed, I don't believe he was the Son of God, but I do believe that there was a figure who existed and was crucified, but he would have been a dark-skinned man, naturally. Oh, then we get to Mr. Ben 747 and the super chat, who says, what's the super chat? It's a wonderful thing, and I'm really, really grateful. Thank you very much. Emily Bishop was married to Ernest Bishop, who got shot in Mike Baldwin's factory. Oh, that's most unfortunate. Perhaps that was the point where she turned to prostitution. Happy Christmas, says Stu Gold. People are just saying that Mr. Ben 747 is a jolly good chap for sending a super chat, and so say all of us. The Kenjoji. When I was in early teens in the mid-90s, I used to watch McBill, or whatever it was called. I found her chronicle confusion fun. I don't know if I would today. I'm worn out a bit. Who's McBill? I'm not sure what that is a contribution towards, which feature. I think it's probably an Oprah, but I don't know about. Sounds fine, but the picture is a tad hazy. You're just drunk, looks fine to me. Maybe I should have wiped the old lens. Mr. Ben 747 says the next amount up was $17.99. I'm not that rich. It's very generous and very kind. That's gas money, says Stephen Espel. You're right in one of two ways. It's possibly gas money, as in gas for the central heating, keeping me warm. Or, given that you are of an American persuasion and you use the term gas for petrol or diesel, but either way, it's very welcome, and it will indeed go towards one of those wonderful things. So look, another message has been hidden. iPhones are expensive shite. I love Apple stuff. I used to think that they were for sheep, and I used to have BlackBerry. I had BlackBerry phone, I had a BlackBerry Playbook, their tablet. And I'll tell you how I came into iPhones. When my mother passed away, she had an iPhone that she loved and adored. And I didn't know what to do with it. I couldn't bear to just, it was so dear to her, it was like part of her. So I started using it because it was like a physical connection between us, even though she was gone. And I still believe that somehow something of her, spirit, whatever, is somewhere looking over me and calling me all sorts of arseholes for fucking everything up. But it was like a physical connection between us. And I started using it. And I thought, actually, this is quite good. And so then I went and bought an iPad to go with it, my first iPad. and then I bought an iPod, and then I bought an iMac, and that was when I realised it was just so much better than everything else. It might not be perfect, but it is just better, and I've stuck to it ever since. I want fire on this table. God knows what that's about. I've got some candles for you. What more do you want? We have some oak waps. Heather Locklear. Oh God, she was a bit of a what I should say so. And Heather Thomas. Don't know who that is. Another oak wap. Demi Moore. Beat that. I've kind of got an idea who she is. Wasn't she married to Bruce Willis? Was she the one with the short hair? Carl Davis says that the missus is away tonight, so I had a proper healthy dinner. I think we know where this is going. Let's see now. 2-piece value box. Southern fried chicken, doner meat and chips. Got Gandhi's flip-flop, though, now in my mouth. Washing down with lager. Oh, I've got a new subscriber. How fantastic is that? Pingu Concorde. Wonderful. Welcome. Jimmy Quinn says, hang on, isn't Pingu Concorde one of the names that was suggested by Mr. Ben 747 in the last live stream? So are you actually somebody else, or are you Mr. Ben 747 on a different account who has also subscribed? Either way, thank you for subscribing, because you still count, and you're called Concorde, and I love Concorde. And I've got a bit of, my apologies, my first burp of tonight's live stream. Probably not my last. But I've got a personal history with Concorde, and so it's wonderful. Jimmy Quinn says Hubnut is getting married. Let's raise another glance to Hubnut. Let's face it, it's probably part of all of our lives. I probably wouldn't be doing this today if it wasn't for Hubnut. So let's wish him all the bloody best, and let's wish Carly the best of luck. They seem to be making a go of it, don't they? And the kids seem to like him, and that's really important with a stepdad situation. And he seems to be, from the outside, making a decent fist of being a stepdad. Something I'm very familiar with. Twice I've raised other people's kids, and my idea on being a stepdad was 2 rules. Never try to replace their father, and encourage do everything you can to encourage their relationship with their actual father, and don't try and be their father, try and be their friend, and possibly a role model. And it seemed to work well for me. When I married the artist formerly known as Mrs. Boaty, she had 4 children, and I was very proud to play my part in raising them all, and they all turned out to be incredible adults, of whom I'm very proud and who should be proud of themselves. Was you watching yourself on YouTube? No, because I'm getting drunk in the comfort of my own home. I'm not getting drunk in a bloody tent in a car park. But yeah, I did realise that there was a slight irony in talking about people drinking on YouTube. But like I said, I mean, there's drinking and drinking, bloody hell. Oh, you wouldn't have wanted me to do this back in the day when I used to properly get my drinking trousers on. Dear me, no. I'm right on Sue Nichols. Excellent. We need to work through these comments. I suspect that I'm getting behind. Martin Lewis is punching. Don't know who his missus is. Pingu Concorde says, I once saw Lewis Hamilton fall out of his helicopter just after it had landed at Brands Hatch to watch his little brother race in the BTCC. Don't know what that is. Well, it's contribution to a feature, but I'm not sure which one. Is that a celebrity disappointment? It could be. Is it a celebrity out of context? It could be. Or is it something almost fell on my head? Well, if you were nearby Lewis Hamilton, where he fell out of the helicopter, it could be that one. So, a valuable and worthwhile contribution to no fewer than 3 features. Wonderful. My God, we're doing well tonight. Isn't this great? I'd say the ghost took it, but obviously they only drink spirits. Spot on about Sue Nichols on Rent-A-Ghost. Rent-A-Ghost. Diddly-do. Listen, you should put the mic closer and kill the picture. Why? Are you not hearing me? I could use a microphone if you're not hearing me, but I thought the sound was okay. Anyway, a hidden comment. Let's unhide it. And, oh, error, try again. Yeah, I'm not going to read that out. Best if you put your pic in black and white like you are dead. Give decent reverb over it to make it the impression of speaking from another world. That's an interesting idea. I'm not reading that one out. Audrey was also Reggie Perrin's secretary, Joan. Yes, she was. She was. I loved The Fall and Rise of Reginald Perrin. And you're absolutely right. She played Joan. And he did go there, didn't he, old Reggie Perrin? If not all the way, he had a jolly good fertile in that direction. And who can blame him? Bloody splendid looking woman. Gilbert says that I would like the gas space heater that Allegra Man has. I used to have those back in the day at the showrooms. And the problem with them is that you're either freezing cold or they're burning your trousers off. But yeah, they're good things. And he adds that sealant is a no. That's the sealant, head gasket sealant question. Peter Kay says he is Alf Roberts' love child. You can see the resemblance. Matthew Harrison says, need the card over Christmas. So sealant seemed worth asking. Oh, this is the ongoing situation with Mr. Harrison of his Rover Streetwise and the head gasket, which has, over the course of these live streams, gone from being of concern to being a possible failure to being a definite failure. Simon says no to sealant, and apparently you persuaded him. I think as he said, glad I asked, saves 30 quid. Alf Roberts, aka Brian Mosley, got chucked off a multi-storey car park on Get Carter. Blimey, I didn't know that. I'm not sure I've ever seen that film. Oh, right, splendid. We're going to find out what Gilbert Theophilus Codwacker had for dinner. He had battered sausage, he had chips, and he had Irish curry sauce. His dining companion, Allegro Man, had a large chip tea cake. What? Do you mean a bread roll with chips in it? Or do you actually mean a tea cake? Because I will have none of this bread roll being called a tea cake thing. That's nonsense. A tea cake is an actual thing. It's a brown bun with bits in it, raisins or sultanas or whatever the bloody hell they are. A white roll is not a tea cake. It's just not. It's a white roll. And I think that's very restrained of Allegro Man just to have a chip roll. Because presumably it was dinner time, and a chip roll is kind of a snack. It's not really a dinner. So why did he only have a chip roll, I wonder? Is he going to have a late supper, or is he just not a big eater? I think we need to know. We need to know more. I mean, you had, Gilbert, you had a full-on battered sausage, chips, Irish curry sauce, a meal, a full meal, and yet your dining companion had but a chip roll. Why? What's the story behind this? We need to know. Come back to us. Steve Cole says, oh, hello. I have a son from Melanie Sykes' sister's best friend. Does that count? Well, does that count as what? I mean, it counts as he counts as a son. But I mean, what is that? I mean, is that a celebrity disappointment? A celebrity out of context? Something that almost fell on your head, which would indicate a somewhat problematical birth. I don't know if it counts. You need to let us know what it is you're asking. Does it count towards? Simon is telling Matthew that head gasket sealing can do long-term damage and you better getting it done properly. KKC asks, how tall is Miss Hubner? I think she's about 4'9", 4'10", something like that. She does properly qualify as a POG, as a person of restricted growth, as I think do her kids. Kenjo G says 5 foot, but I think she's a little shorter than that. Definitely worth looking up Stardisk. It's in Wirksworth. What is it though? Stardisk. Give me a clue. What is it? I know Wirksworth. I like Wirksworth. The best cinema I've ever been to is in Wirksworth, as in a rather splendid heritage railway. And when we were living in Matlock, Bath, then Boo, my other half, was registered, and my stepdaughter were registered with the doctors in Wirksworth. Tonight's stream is a great one so far. That's very kind of you to say so, Simon. I had a German Shepherd called Carter, says Steve Cold. Simon has added Stardisk to my list of places to visit. But what is Stardisk? Tell me what it is. Is it a coffee shop or something? The road up to it is narrow and steep, but the view is worth it. Best to visit at night for the lights. Well, I want to know what this place is now, because I want to go there. And I will take all of you with me. Let's all go. Let's all go to Stardisk and do a live stream from Stardisk. But not until spring, not until it's a bit warmer. Somebody tell me what it is, or I'll Google it afterwards, and we will all go to Stardisk together. Even if only virtually. JC was not a messiah, he was just a naughty boy. Indeed. You mentioned Ally McBeal. Oh, I see. That was, right. That was it was the McBill that confused me. It's supposed to be McBeal, but yeah. Okay, here is a new feature. Who would you have podgered on Ally McBeal? I would have podgered Ali. I would not have podgered, what's her name, the secretary girl. Can't remember what her name was. I wouldn't have podgered John's girlfriend that left him after he spanked her with a hairbrush. I most definitely would have had a jolly good go on the nice Chinese lady. And I wouldn't have podgered the district attorney, the black lady. But it's not all about me. Who would you have podgered? Do let me know. Mustard Christ. Apple pie, that's the best Apple product. Blackberry. I resigned from a very good job 15 years ago on a Blackberry. That's KKC. Matthew Harrison says, I passed away, but they just like curds. I don't know what it tastes like. So, what? Are you drunk or am I? I ruined an apple pie last night by adding tinned cherry pie filling. That stuff is not what it used to be. Oh, Mr. Ben747 says, Pingu Concorde is not me, by the way. So Pingu Concorde is a genuine new subscriber then. And I'm very excited about that. And welcome to the channel, and welcome to this live stream, and welcome to me and my friends and the nonsense that we do. Heather Thomas was in the Fall Guy. Oh, God, what? Then, what? I should say so. Oh, God, what was the, I'm trying to remember the theme song to the Fall Guy now. Now then. I can almost remember it, but I can't quite. That'll come back to me. James Wilson says that Concorde is my favourite aircraft too. I've been on Alpha Charlie at Manchester Airport, and that's my personal favourite Concorde. Yeah, Alpha Charlie is at Ringway, and you can have a guided tour around it. But I was on Concorde when it was in service, And after that, I was on it again on a more private capacity because, as I've mentioned before, my previous fiance, Lisa, the one I got that close to marrying, and I'll tell you that story one day, and the one I was living with in Cyprus and Exeter, and we were commuting between the two. Uh, she managed an airline that was based at Exeter Airport, and she was, and before that she was airport staff, worked in the tower, and she was one of the team that brought in Concorde on Concorde's one and only visit to Exeter. If you don't know Exeter Airport, it's got an abnormally long runway for a tiny airport, which is why the Red Arrows always base themselves there. I had I had some great nights out with the Red Arrows back in the day, because of course Lisa dated before me. The boyfriend before me was the squadron leader of the Red Arrows, and they stayed friends, and I became friends with them as well. And whenever they were based in at Exeter Airport, we used to go out on the town with them. God Almighty, though, I could tell you some stories about that. But anyway, getting off tangent there. Lisa was part of the team that brought Concorde in on the one and only visit to Exeter, and we got a special guided tour around, and we got given a load of gifts, including a bottle of Concorde champagne, which took pride of place in our cottage, which was the old converted post office in the little village that's right by Exeter Airport with a thatched roof. And one night when we'd gone out, our au pair invited her dodgy boyfriend over, and they drank the Concorde champagne. And suffice it to say that the au pair was nothing to do with me, this was down to Lise. The au pair had her arse on an aeroplane going back to Romania within 2 days, and was replaced with a much better looking one, a stunning looking one. I'll show you the photos. Actually, let's not talk about that anymore. Did you see the hub nuts in the mad double fronted Rover 75? I didn't. I haven't watched that episode, but I'm sure many other people have. JC is Jeremy Clarkson. Ah, right, yeah. I am the same height as Jeremy Clarkson. I smoke the same cigarettes as Jeremy Clarkson. Well, I used to. I'm not at the moment because my smuggler hasn't smuggled me any. Not my smuggler, what am I talking about? My local shop that sells perfectly legal and above board cigarettes hasn't got any. That's what I meant. Apparently Mustard is scared of ghosts. Yeah, I meant to pick you up on this, you great wuss. Mustard has told me when he did the live stream, right? When he did the live stream here at Windy Bum, Mustard knows that this place is haunted, or I've told him it's haunted. And he's now been here, and he's been upstairs on his own. He hasn't said anything, but, you know, who knows? But he told me that he couldn't stay over because his missus wasn't keen on the idea. But then, in his own live stream, he let slip that he didn't stay over because he's scared of haunted houses. The great wuss. So there we are. So, in the spirit of community, can we please come together and let's all point and laugh at Captain Mustard? On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Ah, what a lovely moment of togetherness as we belittle our hairy friend. Are you sure about her? All right, okay. Let's see. Oh, another hidden. I wish you would run me over now. Yeah, I bet you do. Reggie Penning was great. Yes, it was. Even the remake with Clunes was funny. Not so much, but oh, Rigsby. Rising Down, another classic. I mean, was Leonard Rossiter ever in anything bad? If you want to watch Leonard Rossiter in something, search for a film called Le Pétomane. L-E, one word, Pétomane, another word. And you can thank me later. I'm sure it was Leonard Rossiter in that. Let me know if I'm wrong. You need to watch Get Carter just for Brit Eklund. OPWAP. These OPWAPs are coming in thick and fast tonight. Oh, we've got a dinner update from Simon, Project MGTF. They had beef tacos. How very exotic and Southern American of you. I once mentioned toasted tea cakes to a Scottish girl. She asked if the chocolate melted. Tunnocks tea cakes are also a thing. Well, Tunnocks tea cakes are not just a thing, they are a fantastic thing. And I want to know if they're still about and if they're still the same. Because Tunnocks tea cakes were part of my childhood, and if they're still about, I want one to have on a Sunday afternoon. Allegro Man is having steak for tea and I paid for the dinner. That explains why he only had a chip roll. But no, I've swung to the other way. Now, if this was this a lunch that you had or a late afternoon tea type, dinnery type thing? Because if you're having steak for tea, then I would have thought that a chip roll is too much of a snack. But hey ho. But it's good to know that Allegro Man is having steak for tea and is not wasting away. Oh, finally, I'll get to find out what Stardisk is. It's a viewing platform for stars, I believe. It gets lit up at night, but I'm not sure if it's lit up all year. I will find out, and we will go there one night, but in the spring. Remind me, don't let me forget that. We will go and do that. KKC has never watched Ally McBeal. I've got a hidden comment here. You are a real Asian fetishist. Yeah, I like Asian women, and I absolutely won't deny it. And yeah, shoot me. Well, don't literally shoot me. I mean, you know, where's the harm in that? I mean, I like all women, as long as they're slim, brown-eyed and dark-haired. Actually, they don't have to be brown-eyed. They just have to be dark-haired and slim. And they have to have manageable boobs. I'm very much terrified of and intimidated by large, boobs that are just too large to be manageable. You know, I wouldn't know what to do with them, wouldn't know where to start, wouldn't know how to cope. But yeah, I like Asian women. Ally McBeal, Ally McYawn, more like, you know, how can you yawn when the lovely Liu, whatever, I can't remember what her name was. Anyway, she was stunning, and if she's over 60, I'm having her as an OPWAP. OPWAP, Selena Scott. I don't know what she looks like now, but my God. I am the same age as Adrian Mole, and Adrian Mole had a crush on Selena Scott, and I think we all did. The very earliest days of breakfast television, you were going to be aroused either by Selena Scott or Frank Buff's cardigan, and I was a Selena Scott man. Ali definitely, but only if she has a bit of chub now. That's Captain Mustard, of course, who has a preference for the larger lady. In fact, he once confided to me that his dream woman, if he could have any woman in the world in her prime, he would go for Bella Emberg. And if you don't know who that is, Google her. She used to do a lot with Russ Abbott. And that is Captain Mustard, aka Project Nigel, aka the Hairy Paddington's dream woman. The dancing baby Ally McBeal reminded me of William Hague. Me too, actually. Heather Thomas had a bad accident, might be disabled. Oh, bless her. Oh, the unknown stuntman was the same as that. Of course it was. 'Cause I'm the unknown stuntman, made Eastwood such a star. Yeah, that's right. I used to enjoy that, The Fall Guy. Well, I'm not the kind to kiss and tell, but I've been seen with Farrah. Yeah, the lyrics coming back to me now. Daisy Duke's girl. Oh God Almighty! In those shorts, what not off? That's a Duke of Hazzard's reference. And talking of the Duke of Hazzard, the best thing about that was the theme tune, and it was sung by a guy who I will go out on a limb, and I reckon that the guy who sang the theme tune to the Dukes of Hazzard, I genuinely think he has got one of the best top five voices in the history of mankind. He's known as a country and western singer, and his name is, I think he's still with us, his name is Waylon Jennings. But if you listen to some other stuff he's done, the guy has got an extraordinary voice, as extraordinary in its own way as Luciano Pavarotti or Roy Orbison. Stunning voice. I saw Concorde coming into Manchester on its final flight in 2003. That was Mr. Ben 747. What a tragedy! What an absolute tragedy that Concorde was retired. And in the midst of time, people think it was retired because of the Air France crash. And of course, it wasn't. Concorde went back into service after the Air France crash. And I don't know if this is true or not, but I've got a good source. And when I say a good source, I mean a high-ranking engineer who was working for and with Air France in their Concorde department. And he was one of my in-laws. He was one of my ex-wife's relatives. And I don't know if this is true or not. And I think we all know, or any of us who are interested, I think we all know the catalogue of events that led up to the Concorde crash, because all airline crashes are never down to a single cause. They're always down to an intricate combination of causes, and the Concorde crash was no exception. But the one thing that never came out in the official report, and according to my source, and according to him, it was the reason why Air France had this issue and British Airways never did. Air France ran their Concorde on remoulded tyres. That's what he told me. Whereas British Concordes were run on not remoulded tyres. I've got no way of knowing if that's true or not, but that's what he said. And he was in a position where he would know, or he was in a position where he could make it up. So why he would make it up, I don't know. But anyway, the point was Concorde didn't go out of service because of the crash. Everybody thinks that's what happened. It didn't. After the crash, various improvements were made. There was Kevlar lining added to the fuel tanks. There were attention given to the tyres, so on and so on and so on. A fortune was spent on having them retrimmed, the interior retrimmed, and they went happily back into service. What killed Concorde was 9/11, because after 9/11, and Concorde had only just gone back into service, or is only just going back into service. And after 9/11, businessmen stopped travelling across the Atlantic. And that is what killed Concorde, because that was Concorde's bread and butter, the JFK run. And it was businessmen and celebs commuting between London and JFK. And once that stopped happening after 9/11 because of fear, basically, that's what killed Concorde. And even then, British Airways didn't kill Concorde. It was Airbus who killed Concorde because they stopped manufacturing the spare parts. And that's why Concorde went out of service. And that's why none of the surviving Concordes have got an airworthiness certificate or ever will get one, sadly. It's a massive shame. It's probably mankind's greatest ever technological step backwards. In every other area of technology, we move forward, we improve. Concorde is the only one where we took a massive step back, and how far are we on now? We're what, 20 years on from Concorde going out of service? And nobody has, and still there's not an equivalent, let alone anything better. Massive shame. I'm a huge Concorde fan. I flew with the Red Arrows on a private jet, says Jimmy Quinn. It was brilliant. Oh, I imagine it was. Stephen S. Paul says, I used to see Concorde a lot in New York and LA all the time. Well, second home for them, wasn't it? I mean, there were 2 flights a day, every day. Opwap, Raquel Welch. Apparently she was married to Freddie Truman. What? The Yorkshire cricket guy. Right. And also the day, 2 days after I was born, sadly killed Concorde 2. The day that changed the world, 11th of September 2001. Oh, it's James Wilson. Oh, ironically, saying just the same thing that that I had, that I said. It's a chilling thing, the 9/11 memorial and the new World Trade Center is lovely. I haven't been to New York since 9/11, so I've not seen it, but I remember that day as if it was yesterday. I know exactly where I was, and I know exactly what I was supposed to be doing, and we didn't do it. I had a really important meeting with my business partner, and we didn't go, and we lost a massive contract because of it. But you know, we both had friends in New York, and we both had friends who were potentially on the flights. So yeah, we weren't going anywhere. We were glued to the news coverage. Mustard scared of barbers. I didn't see any ghosts there. He's talking about my place, Windy Bum. Just some dead bottles, and plenty of dead bottles around here. The telltale rattle of shame as I put the bin out. My grand's flat was, oh, you told us this before, Gilbert. Yeah, your grand's lived in a haunted place and used to tell the ghost to piss off. I think you said that before in mine, or did you say that in? Oh no, you might have said that. Yeah, you said that in Mustard's live stream, didn't you? Not in mine. Was Captain's Mustard's Mrs. worried you might consummate your relationship? No, it was nothing to do with his missus. It's because he's scared of ghosts. Scotland forever, says Steve Cole. Reggie Pedding's best excuse. I don't remember this one. John Moretti says Reggie Pedding's best excuse. 22 minutes late, escaped Puma, Chessington North. That is brilliant. Let's have a look. Oh, another hidden comment. Mustard says, I will definitely be taking the piss out of Boaty in my live stream on Monday. I think you mean Tuesday, or are you going to put your live stream up in direct competition to mine? That could be quite interesting. Dual live streams running concurrently. That could be interesting, especially if we were each watching each other's, although that would probably be confusing. Would Gillian Anderson qualify, or is she too young? That's for our OPWAP feature. And if you're new to the channel or this the live stream, OPWAP is old age pensioners worthy of podgering. In other words, people over 60 that you would. And I don't know if Gillian Anderson is over 60 or not. Anybody know? Leonard Roster was good in the Martini TV commercials. Yeah, absolutely, with Lorraine Chase, who was terrible at Just a Minute. My dad was in Black Watch, says Steve Cole, television program, I think. Oh, apparently Gillian Anderson is too young, says Mr. Ben 747. She's only 54. Linda Carter, aka Wonder Woman. I assume that's an OPWAP. Don't know how old she is. Kate Garraway is getting close to OPWAP age, says KKC. I have another hidden message from the foul-mouthed tirade of abuse that is Project Nigel, who says, lying twat. No, I'm not sure what he thinks, what he's saying I'm lying about, whether it's that he's frightened of ghosts, or that he was he once spent a period of 5 years stalking Bella Remberg, trying to get her to sleep with him. Now I know that's true because he told me, and he told me not to tell anybody because I don't think his wife knows. Matthew Harrison says close is a lingerie shop without front window. Okay. Did the Harry Paddington like the Roly Polies? Well, I mean, he would have loved them, wouldn't he? I mean, knowing Captain Mustard as we all do, I think we all know that for him, the Roly Polies would have been nothing else, nothing less than an absolute wank fest. I mean, yeah, I can only imagine that he would have been pleasuring himself furiously as the Roly Polies frolicked about, showing off their mustard enticement bodies to their advantage. Bad Book says, my mum had a cleaner called Boo and another called Wilma. They had to have names you could shout for some reason. Oh, right. Okay. Well, Boo was the name of my ex. Her name wasn't Boo. I just called her Boo. Her name was actually Lindsay. Willie Nelson, wasn't it? Wasn't what? Oh, I was wrong. And KKC says, I think Waylon Jennings died years ago. Oh, I hope not. But possibly he did. I am somewhat out of touch. Johnny Cash sings a song about the General Lee. Oh, apparently Waylon Jennings died back in 2002. Bloody hell. God, really? Oh, what a shame. There's never just one thing, it's always a few factors. Yeah, that's talking about airline crashes. Daisy Duke actress was in the Lamborghini on the Cannonball Run. France equals remold, UK equals bricks. Became too expensive to run Concorde. Yeah, became too expensive because demand dropped off because nobody was flying the Atlantic. Oh, this is interesting. Bad Book says, I heard the same about French remolds on Concorde. I've never heard that from anybody else. I only heard it from Maggie's uncle, and I've never seen it mentioned anywhere, and I'm 99.99% certain it's not in the official report. So it's interesting that you've heard it, and I'd be interested to know where you heard it. I mourn the loss of the transatlantic 747, fantastic plane. I agree. I loved the 747, flown on them countless times, and the great thing about them was, you know, when you're going through the airport and you see it and you know you're going somewhere special, because 747s don't fly to Malaga. So when you get on a 747, you know you're going somewhere special. It gives a real sense of occasion. There's a company setting up a supersonic passenger plane, should be running by 2026 or 2030. They've been saying that ever since Concorde went out of service. And they've talked about ramjets and they've talked about this, that and the other. And it hasn't happened. There isn't a supersonic commercial jet airliner. And there isn't one about to be launched. It is, you know, Concorde made her maiden flight in 1969. It's now 2022, and we can't equal the technology of 1969. It's the only area where mankind has taken that level of backward step. I remember my 18th birthday in New York back in September, says James Wilson, 2019, and 2 days after was 18th anniversary of 9/11, and I remember the whole World Trade Center site shut down for the memorial and all the service people. Oh, that's nice. Pingu Concorde asks, which aircraft did I fly on to meet my American millionaire mistress? She wasn't a mistress, I was single. She was a partner, or whatever you want to call her. I flew out on, I actually flew out on an Airbus, and I stayed out there, but I commuted forward and backwards. and the first time I came back was on a 747. And I always, all during that period, I always flew Virgin. I always tried to get the red eye because I was guaranteed an upgrade. And I used to, oh God, I used to drink just through the entire thing because I was, I was dropped off at one airport. Robin would drop me off at O'Hare, and then Mel, my business partner, would pick me up from Heathrow, and then vice versa. So I used to just drink that journey away, courtesy of Virgin Atlantic. Boeing just delivered the very last 747. God, did they really? I'm amazed they've only just delivered it. I thought they'd almost entirely gone out of service. Same with the big Airbus, although the Emirates Airbus does have a daily flight into Ringway. I've seen it very closely overhead a couple of times when I've been around Mustard's place. I'm going to have just a little break, if you'll excuse. Oh God, look at the time! Bloody hell! Dear me, time has really rolled on tonight, hasn't it? I need to catch up with the comments and make sure I don't miss any. And I haven't talked about anything that I want to talk about, which is basically that super chats, super chats, super thanks, and super stickers are now available. Should you wish to go down that route, and channel memberships are also available. I wanted to shout some people out. Bear with. I want to shout out, oh Christ, I've forgotten his name. No, I haven't. I want to shout out Alan Searle. I've got no idea if he's watching that, and I tried to put a post up, but for some reason I couldn't tag your YouTube name. But I want to give out a massive thank you to Alan Searle, who was the first person, and actually the only person, I think, to take out channel membership. And my God, he did it in style, because none of this bottom tier membership for Alan. No, he went straight in on the top membership tier, the connoisseur level. There are 3 tiers of membership: Club, Club SE, and Connoisseur. Oh, excuse me. That was a hiccup, not a burp, so technically that doesn't count. But anyway, yeah, he went in on the top tier, and I just wanted to thank him for being the first. I apologise. I wanted to thank him for being the first and for his support. And I also wanted to thank... Bloody hell. I also wanted to thank, oh God, I've forgotten the damn name again, Lord Byron of Sealand, or I should, damn it, I can't remember. But I would like to thank him for giving me my very first super thanks. Really, very, very, very much appreciated. Oh, and I just want to say a quick word about all of these things. So yeah, they are all, hang on a minute, I need to say this properly. I can't do this in a half-assed way. Right. Okay, these things are available. If you're not familiar with what they are, then Super Chat applies to live streams. Super Thanks applies to videos. I've got no idea what Super Stickers apply to as yet. I haven't managed to figure that one out. But basically, they're kind of ways of saying, indicating what you enjoy, saying thanks for doing what you do, and chucking a couple of bob at you, or in my case, at me. And I'm really, really grateful for that. And the same is true with channel memberships. The idea is that you take out a channel membership, which means that you pay a subscription to the channel, which is a monthly thing, and you can do it for 1 month or you can do it on an ongoing basis. And there are 3 tier levels, and in return for that, you get certain perks. And I've put, if you have a look at the channel memberships, I've put some perks down, but they're not going to be the be all and end all. I'm not doing the, as I said I wouldn't. I've stuck to it. I'm not doing the early access to videos or anything like that, because I'm not going to, when it comes to the basic content of the channel, what this is all about, there's no way that I'm going to punish anybody for not having a couple of bob spare to send my way, because God knows I haven't got a couple of bob spare to send anybody else's way. As Simon is only too well aware after the shenanigans on Monday when I had no gas and no heating. So I'm not going to do that. But I do want to give perks over and above to the people that are kind enough to support me. So I've put some things down. A lot of the things that I want to do, I'm not allowed to put down because they contravene YouTube policies. Because you're not allowed to include perks which pertain to actually meeting in the flesh. And that's something that I want to do. So the perks would be things like that. If you meet me at a show and I've taken Momo with me, and you're a channel member, I want to give you some Momo as a thank you, even if it's just one to try, or a full portion for your lunch, and a slice of cake, and other things like that. And so there will be loads of other perks that I'm going to add to the channel memberships to try and make it worth your while. That's one thing that I wanted to tell you. And if there's a perk in particular that you would like, then just tell me and I will add it, or do it on a personal basis or something. I mean, I don't know what you'd like, whether you'd, but anything. Anything. Shout out your channel, do a collab, anything you like. Really, I'm well and truly up for it, especially if you support me. And that's something else that I want to get on with, this supporting me business. I've mentioned it before. But I'll mention it again. I'll make no apologies for mentioning it. I run the UK Singles Network, www.uksinglesnetwork.com, if you're interested in looking at the website. And there are many facets to this, but one of them is a charity arm. Now, I'm trying to build this into an officially recognised charity, and it is proving bloody impossible, because in order to qualify for a registered charity number, and once you've got to that stage and you get your number and you get your official registration, you qualify for all sorts of grants and government help and council help and all sorts, which God knows I would love to have. But one of the things that you have to, it's a bit like YouTube having to get 1,000 subs and 4,000 watch hours. To get your charity number, you have to have £5,000 in donations in a 12 calendar month period. And for a charity that isn't established and doesn't have a charity number, unless you've got some big influential backers, that's virtually impossible to do, I've found. And God knows I've been trying to do it. You try going to people and saying, I run this charity you've never heard of. Would you mind giving me £5? No! Bugger off. And it's just really difficult. Now, the people who know the charity inside out and backwards, ironically, are the members of the Singles Network, many of whom are the people who desperately need to be beneficiaries of the charity. So they're hardly in any place to donate to a charity which they really need to benefit from, not be donating to. So the long and the short of it is that I developed a thing called the Singles Pot. And I know I've mentioned this before, but I don't apologise for mentioning it again. And when one of our, you can't help everybody, you can't help the world, but when one of our community, which is a relatively small community, given the amount of single people around the UK, at the moment there are 10,000 of us in the community. And when somebody approaches me and they're, you know, they're well and truly in the shit. And I don't mean in the shit like I was, having no gas or no money for this or that, but I've got cars outside that I can sell should I need to, and now have. I mean properly in the shit and with nowhere else to turn. Then the idea is that those of us who can spare a couple of bob, chuck a couple of bob per month into the pot, and we take money out of the pot for a member of the community who really needs it. The problem is the pot's been empty for a bloody long time. So when somebody comes and they're desperately in need for, you know, and it can be a small, relatively small amount, 10 quid or 20 quid, whatever. What do? I don't say no. I give them the money myself. And so, and of course that leaves me skintier than I need to be. So part of the idea of doing this YouTube channel is to, if not raise money directly for the charity, at least to make the YouTube thing self-sufficient, so that I can spare more of my own personal money to give to the charity. So just to let you know that if you support me in any way, via the super chat system, via super thanks, or via the channel membership, then you are supporting the channel. You will be helping me in doing more things, whether that's getting to see Mustard, whether that's coming out to see you guys, whether to do car shows, whether to do more interesting content that you'd like to get me to do. It's helping me on a personal basis, but you're also helping me to help others. So it's just, I just didn't want you to think that anything that you chuck is just being bloody walloped up the wall and spent on a bottle of wine or a nice lunch. It really isn't. It'll be helping the channel because it will be helping me, and it will be helping others because at the very least, it will free up more of my own personal money that I can put towards singles, and that I can then use to building up the charity properly, so that we can get some government help and whatnot. If you're remotely interested, my long-term aim for the charity is I want to get a high street presence. High streets are empty, and if you're a registered charity, you qualify for insane deals from the council. You get free or cheap rent, free or cheap rates, which is why our high streets today are just full of bloody charity shops. And what I want to do is I want to get a high street presence, and I want to open kind of a charity shop, except it won't be. It will be a charity shop in that will be the business model, in that it will it'll be somewhere where people can take their unwanted items and we will sell them in order to raise money to help the people that need to be helped. But it will also be a coffee shop stroke cafe stroke drop-in centre. It will be somewhere where single people who are on their uppers can go, and they can get, you know, if they're alone, if they're anxious, if they're depressed, if they're living in poverty, which so many single people, especially single men, I don't want to be sexist about it, but if you're a single man with no kids, you try living on what the benefit system gives you. So it will be a drop-in centre where people can get in, where people can come in. It will be somewhere warm, somewhere they can have company. Don't underestimate the importance of company. If you're living alone and single and bloody lonely, so they can drop in, they can have warmth, they can have company, they can have a free coffee, a free tea, and something free to eat. And I would like to have one of those run by volunteer. Well, I'd like to have one run by me in my local high street. But I would like that idea to expand. Anyway, that's my idea of where I'd like the charity to go. But, you know, in the meantime, I would just like to be able to help more people. And I am talking about genuinely deserving cases. Yeah, it's terrifying that I don't want to be. Contact me privately if you want to hear about the sort of things that we help out with. It. I'm not exaggerating when I say it can literally save lives. People are desperate, and when you have nowhere else to turn and you're desperate, that can lead to some dark places. But that's enough of all of that. Um, it God help us. It's oh gosh, it's quite late. Let's wallop through these comments and let's get caught up with that. Then I'll have another half a puff and top my wine up, and then it'll be time to say good night. Um, okay, where did I get to? Bear with, bear with, bear with, bear with. Oh, hello. Oh gosh. Um, hang on. Oh God, I've got a lot through to get through, haven't I? Right, I got to about here. Okay. Is 60 OPWAP or is it 65? We'll say 60. Probably 65 for a man. Um, Raquel Welch was married to Fred Truman's son. That makes more sense. Wonder Woman for me, can't blame you. I've been lucky enough to go up in that lift in the World Trade Center a couple of times. That's James Wilson. Simon says, do we have to swear to get a comment hidden like bollocks? That didn't work, that didn't get hidden. Mustard might have blown a head gasket with the Roly Polies. Yes, I imagine he might well have. Martini commercial was done by Joan Collins. Oh yeah, that's right. What was it Lorraine Chase did? It was something like that. Did they mix cross plies and radials on the Concorde axle? That used to be a thing, didn't it? Mr. Ben 747 has got an early start, so he's so he's heading up. Good night, Mr. Ben 747. Thank you for the super chat. Sleep tight and have a good day tomorrow. Look forward to catching you next time. Project Nigel has had a comment hidden. Bollocks isn't going to get hidden, you daft twat. And he's quite right, it didn't, but that one did. I like planes, in fact I like most woodworking tools, says Simon, and that's a very clever pun and play on words. Gilberti Codwakers thinks that the A380 is fab. It's an impressive thing, isn't it? No two ways about that. Oh, Bad Book says, heard about the Concorde remolting from my uncle who was in the RAF, so similar source to you. So, yeah, it's starting to sound like that was true. Leonard Rossiter and Joan Collins were Cinzano Bianco, I thought. Yeah, I think you're right. We can't go to the moon now. We could in the 1970s. Well, update on that. We are going to the moon. Well, we're not. The Americans are, and the first part of their next moon landing series has already begun. The tester has gone out there after a few false starts. Transatlantic flights on a Virgin flight upstairs in the bubble, fantastic. Totally agreed. They were happy days. Stephen S4 says, my aunt and uncle worked in the World Trade Center from 1970 to 2000. I have lots of old photos and promotional material. I was in the WTC hundreds of times. I worked for the Port Authority. That's an interesting bit of history. Campari was Lorraine Chase because she had the catchphrase Luton Airport. That's right. All 7 BA Concordes remain scattered around here in the UK, 2 in the States and 1 in Barbados, while only 5 remain of the Air France fleet. 1 was scrapped in '82, and then BTSC was the one sadly crashed. Super chaps for riding super horses. Super chats, dear boy. Super chats. Me and my missus and son used to be backstage on Des and Mel. Joan Collins, OPWAP 20 years ago. That's a good shout, actually. What are we doing about pounds for the January 15th meet? For us not on Facebook. Good question. I've suggested that we have a birthday brunch at my local thing for on Sunday the 15th, which is the day after my birthday. So first of all, let's work out who is prepared to come, who is ready and willing to come. I've got it going on the Facebook thing. It's not had a brilliant response, if I'm honest. Maybe it's more of a YouTube thing. So let's think. Don't shout it in the comments here because I can't see the comments and neither can anybody else once the live stream has finished. So I'll just forget it. Okay, for those of you who don't have Facebook, I will do it as a thing on my community tab on YouTube, and we'll figure it out that way, and we'll sort something out. And as long as there are some reasonable numbers, I'm perfectly happy to go ahead, and we'll sort out what we're going to do about food and costs and whatnot. Thank you for reminding me. I've got loads of Concorde memorabilia. Oh, lucky you. I haven't. The au pair drank ours. Shouldn't membership levels be classic, club and connoisseur? Possibly yes. I might change them. What berth of caravan do you require for your PNHQ shelter? Literally anything. Anything. In an ideal world, a cute small one for ease of pulling about and just for the laugh of watching two large men in a small caravan. We've said that we're going to sleep over in it at a car show and do an episode of that. And, you know, the idea of two large drunk men in a two-berth caravan would be like the funniest thing ever. But, I mean, you know, we would take anything. Absolutely anything. We have a hidden comment. Get rid of the wooden dildo salt and pepper pots. They're going nowhere. British Concorde locations. Alpha Alpha is in the Museum of Flight, Scotland. Alpha Bravo is at Heathrow. Alpha Charlie is at Ringway, Manchester. Alpha Delta is in New York. Alpha Foxtrot is in Alpha Echo is in Barbados. Alpha Foxtrot Bristol, and Alpha Golf is in Seattle. I may be able to supply you with a two-berth caravan for you and the Hailing Paddington. Hey! Really? That would be amazing. We have a tow car ready and waiting, and we've got so many adventures that we want to do with the caravan. It won't just be a static thing for the yard. We plan to take it to car shows and make it an absolute feature of the doings of Mustard and Boaty. So that would be amazing. Give me a shout. I'm getting excited now. Or you could do memberships as a facelift trim levels. Classic, contemporary SE, connoisseur SE. Yeah, I've gone with club SE and connoisseur because I was putting my hair out trying to think of one. Maybe I'll add an entry level classic where you get virtually sod all, but it only costs 99p or something. Oh, Project Drive needs to be the lowest level of memberships. That's a good idea. Keep these ideas coming in because nothing's happened that can't be changed or tweaked. And I do mean tweaked, Simon, not twerked. I have lots of research to do to understand the trim levels. I can lend you the brochures. Connoisseur SE is top spec throughout the production, and like Rover stated, the club was phased out and replaced by the contemporary. Connoisseur SE was the ultimate luxury spec for the facelift 75, and that is what I have got. Would gift aid work for your charity boating? No, I don't think it would, because we're not a registered charity as yet. So I qualify for fuck all, basically, which is really annoying. Ali Mack is with us. You're bloody late to the party, Ali Mack. But he says good evening, and a jolly good evening to you. James Wilson says nothing wrong with Project Ride 75. So the Rover 45 got hit worst with the Project Ride the most. Actually, I agree with that. I've got pre and post. Oh no, I haven't, have I? No, all of my 75s are post project. Anyway, yeah, but not too bad. Oh, Ali Mac, bless you. Thank you so much. That's really kind. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That is, I think, a super chat thing when he asks how's it going, and it's going a lot better now. Thank you very much. Really, really appreciate it. Um, more money for Bertie's pot. How generous of you? Absolutely, it really is. And thank you so much. Who remembers the TV show 73? And who thinks Saturday morning TV shows would make good Saturday night TV shows for us that grew up with the great stuff? That's actually a good shout. I don't remember the TV show 73. It's so cold, my eyes are steaming up from my own breath. Where are you, man? Are you not inside in the warm? Where are you watching this? We need to know. It's not a small token. It's very generous, Ali Mac, and believe me, it will make an absolute difference. Thank you very much. For those of us that grew up with great 80s shows, is what I meant to finish up with. Simon says number 73 was great. Sandy Toxvig, really? How old's the Cadbury's Caramel Bunny? Lorraine Chase was Campari, says KKC. Oh, I think Project Nigel is off. He says, good night, Boaty, my lovely. Good night, Captain Mustard. See you on Monday. I'm coming up to annoy you. I'm going to brave the cold. But yeah, I didn't see you last week, and I don't like going 2 weeks without seeing you. So yeah, I'm going to come up and annoy you, and I'm going to get a fabulous kebab. I'll probably sit in the car all the time. Maybe it'll be a bit warmer on Monday. Anyway. How much do you need to get the charity shop stroke centre started, as I would be willing to invest? That's a good question. I honestly don't know. What I know is that if you're a registered charity, then you qualify for all of the perks, and you qualify for the discounted this, that, and the other from the council. And in order to get the registered charity number, it has to be a total of £5,000 donations within a calendar year. But that, those are donations rather than investments. Talking about it as an investment, if it were to be done as a charitable not-for-profit business, how much that would need, I don't honestly know. I've not looked into it. But there are so many empty shops and empty units on the high street now that I would have thought that it would be, relatively affordable. And being a charitable type of thing, then all of the stuff for the interior, all of the stock for the charity shop would obviously be donated. And on the coffee shop stroke drop-in centre side of things, again, I would expect all of the stuff needed there to be donated again. So, I would imagine entry costs would be minimal. But given that I'm utterly skint, minimal is too much. But maybe I'll become rich and famous on YouTube and I can actually do all of these things. But the honest answer to the question is, I don't know, but I will find out. So I don't like not having the answer to things. And, that's a very kind thought and a lovely and very exciting suggestion. Thank you for that. Simon's managed to get one held for review. Apologies, Project Nigel, I'm not a sweary professor like you twat. And he managed to get one hidden, so well done. Annie Mac says, good night to everybody, having only just said hello. So we're all saying good night to Captain Mustard, who appears to be off. Steve Colg is a flat earther, he's afraid. The moon is an American colony. The earth can't be flat, says Matthew Harrison. I know this because I live on a hill. An old Concorde would have made a good restaurant. Yes and no. If you've never been on a Concorde, you'd be amazed at how small it was. How small and how bloody cramped. Poll it on YouTube. Numbers for birthday. Good shout, Simon. I will do that. Caravan would be a great mini studio. Could even wire it up with mics for recording stuff. What a great idea. Don't have community tab on iPad, unfortunately, says Bad Books. Bad Books, you do. You do. All you need to do is, instead of going on the iPad app on your iPad, open up iOS, open up whatever it's called, open up Safari, open up the internet browser, and just access YouTube on there. And then, hey, you've got community. Everything that you can do on a computer, on a laptop, you can do on an iPad. You just need to use the browser, not the app. So you will be able to access community. Oh, bloody hell. Okay, so, but if you don't do community and you don't do Facebook, how can I work that? I'll put it on a video, I'll mention it on a video, and I'll ask people to comment on the video if they want to come. And I'll do it on the community as well, and it's already on Facebook. So hopefully that way we'll get everybody. Weather is mild on Monday, says KKC. Excellent, then I'll go up and see Mustard. Oh, hello. Hi, Boaty. I think you're sexy. Well, let's all welcome the person with the very low standards, then, shall we? Thank you. What a lovely and unexpected thing to say. Blimey, that's rather thrown me, that has, my lovelies. Maybe Project Nigel should get a hot tub for the yard. Bloody hellfire. I think you are overestimating Captain Mustard's current worth. Although he and I will be YouTube celebrities when we've got great plans for next year. He's mentioned it on a video and on his live. The Mustard and Boaty thing is not dead. It's just resting. We've got massive plans for next year. We're probably going to rebrand the channel as the Doings of Mustard and Boaty, rather than just do cars. And we've got loads of plans for stuff to do when the weather is better and when we've each got a few more bob in our pockets. So, you know, we will do cars, but we'll do lots of other things as well. And in the meantime, you'll always get a bit of a fix of Mustard and I together here on this channel, because you know, this is where you'll find Mustard and Boaty do lunch. And if you want to see the stuff that Mustard and I do together, go onto the playlists on my channel and just click on the Doings of Mustard and Boaty, and anything that we've done together you will see on that playlist. So all of our do lunches, Mustard and Boaty do people, or anything that we've just done together, it's all there in that playlist. Because there's some funny stuff in there, you know, when well, we think we're pretty funny when we're together, and it seems some of you guys do too. The Cadbury's Caramel Bunny's voice is 81, bloody hell. Meat and potato pie is just going in the oven, says Matthew Harrison. That sounds good. I've got curry tonight, I've got a great curry tonight, and it is made, you may remember the video, but this curry is again made with a Carolina Reaper Naga chili, which is the world's hottest chili, but it's been made with a lot less of it, and it's got a hell of a kick to it, but it is beautiful, absolutely beautiful, and that's what I've got tonight. Made at work for everybody, and it was so good I brought home 2 portions, one for tonight and one for the freezer. Yeah, it's got a hell of a kick to it, but my God, is it lovely. We could start with you selling me Sheeson and using that cash to get things going. Oh God, of all the cars to try and buy, Sheeson is my special car. it's kind of like Nigel, maybe not quite like Nigel is to mustard, but getting there. I would sell them for the right money, and more importantly, to the right home. Um, if it was, I would sell it to somebody if it was going to be not used as an everyday car, and if the person had the money to improve it, to actually make it all better than it even already is, because it's quite a rare car. Um, it's an IXL, which is quite rare. It's a full spec IXL with the leather, the walnut, every option going, sunroof, air conditioning. Somebody ticked every box. So that makes it quite rare. It's an automatic, or it's a CVT step speed. So that makes it even rarer. When I bought it, it was effectively a one-owner car, father and daughter. That makes it fairly rare, and it's got the most incredible service history like that from day one, which also makes it pretty rare. And it's quite low mileage. It's done 60,000 miles. So, you know, how many of cars meeting all of those criteria are there around? Now, I've got a big emotional tie with the car because it was Hui's car. It was Chinese Madam's car, and something that we did together, and so I've got a lot of personal history with it. But if it was going to a better home than I can give it, and at the right money, then yeah, I would sell it. So happy to talk to you about that. I'd rephrase it to, oh, right, yeah, okay. Matthew Harrison bakes at weird times, and he is indeed baking the pie. Thanks for the Safari suggestion. I will access YouTube that way. Yeah, and then you get literally everything, exactly the same as if you were on a computer. It's a terrible faff to do on a phone because it's just too bloody small. But on an iPad, it's not actually too bad. And you can navigate YouTube perfectly well on an iPad. I very, very seldom use my laptop for anything. I manage to do everything on my iPads, and that includes building websites, everything that I do on my singles network, everything that I do with YouTube. There's virtually nothing I need to go on a laptop for. So yeah, you'll find that YouTube on your browser, on your iPad, is perfectly easy. The hot tub could just be a water butt and one of those kettle elements that plug into a car power socket. That's a brilliant idea. I'd love to see. And it's the sort of thing that Mustard would probably try doing, and I'd love to see that. I just made your day, you sexy thing, Boaty. Yep, you absolutely did. Matthew Harrison says, anytime is pie time, can't argue with that. Oh dear, says Matthew Harrison, we're in for some shitty content uploads. Yeah, you're referring to the video I did after the time that I ate the curry made with a whole Carolina Reaper Naga chili. This time we were a bit more circumspect. Steve Colg is saying that it's bedtime for him and sends everybody his love. And I notice that it is gone 1 o'clock. I've been rattling on for more than 2 hours. And so I think it's bedtime for all of us and time that we said good night. So let's all say our good nights, our community good nights to everybody. Well, I have a quick half a puff and top my wine up, and then I will come back and say good night to you. And then we can all go and get something to eat, or get a drink, or go to bed. Thank you for tonight. I've really enjoyed it. I always do. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for the super thanks. And thank you to my channel member, and thank you to anybody else who has become a channel member since then, when I've been doing this and have been too busy to see. I left my bloody wine in the freezer again. What a silly ass. Oh dear. That's going to take a while to defrost, isn't it? So, Oh, but that wine that has been sitting on the table without me drinking it has gone too warm. So the frozen wine will counteract that quite nicely. I love it when a plan comes together. Yeah, so it really is far too late, and it really is time to say goodnight. So thank you all for your company. Thank you so much. I really enjoy these, and I absolutely love this time that we get to hang out together. And you know, I look forward to when we can do it in real life as well. Maybe for my birthday bash, my birthday brunch. Next year, I do have the idea of making it a monthly meet-up here at Windy Bum, using the village hall as a meeting place and a place that we can have a bit of something to eat and drink, but probably when the weather's better, incorporating some driving, because I live in a beautiful part of the world. I live in the Peak District National Park. So I'm sure we can think of some other things to do that probably going to be car related. But at the very least, you know, as a community, we have a community meet, maybe one Sunday a month, and we just have a chat and we mingle and we have a bit of something to eat and a bit of something to drink. As I said before, I've got unfettered access to the village hall at very, very good rates. So it'll be cheap as chips for us, and we can use it as a base. I even thought about, don't know what you think of this idea, and it's too late to mention it now. I'll mention it in another video. But again, when the weather is better and we have lighter evenings, I thought about having a Monday night community social there as well. So maybe maybe have 2 meets a month, one Sunday lunch and one Monday night. And we could do, we could do some sort of theme there, and we could make it a curry night or something, and I could bring a bloody great vat of curry, and we could do a live stream, but with all of us there, for the people who couldn't be there, like our friends in America. That would be fun, wouldn't it? But anyway, I need to be saying good night, don't I? Good night, good night, good night, good night. Emma Jacobs, hello and good night. Monthly meet is good. Alternate home and away to suit others further afar. That's probably not a bad idea. But then, you know, other members of the community could organise something that was nearer them, perhaps. And those that can, we can move between the two. So, you know, maybe every Sunday there would be something going on with one of us in our little community, and we can strike out to the ones that are within our personal reach. That might be quite fun. Personally, for mine, I would love to do 2 a month. Actually, I'd love to do one Sunday lunch, one Monday night. I think that would be great fun. In kind of spring and summer. So, right, I think everybody's pretty much said goodnight to each other. Thank you everybody for tonight. It's been fabulous. I will see you again there'll be videos coming out. And there may be a special Christmas treat for you on Sunday, if I can get it done by then. If I can get it done, it'll be Sunday night at the normal time of 1919. Failing that, see you on whatever videos go out tomorrow, Saturday. And I will see you next on Monday night's live stream. So, thank you so much. Have a safe and peaceful night. Bless you for giving me your time. And stay safe, stay warm, take good care, and good night. Toodles. I like toodles. TTFN. All right, darlings. Catch you later. Bye-bye.